And the Oscar goes to Miss Anne Hathaway.
This is the first.
It came true. Thank you so much to the Academy for this.
3 words. That's all it took to turn the most awarded night of Anne Hathaway's life into the beginning of a career crisis. It came true. February 24th, 2013. She stood at the Dolby Theatre podium holding her Oscar for Best Supporting Actress for Les Miserables. And the internet decided in real time that it hated her for it. Not for what she did, not even for what she said, for how she said it. Within hours, Hathahate was trending. Within months, she couldn't get a job. You probably know Anne Hathaway as Princess Mia, as Catwoman, as the woman who stood next to Meryl Streep and held her own in heels. She could barely walk in. You know she can sing.
Still I dream he'll come to me, that we will live the...
Les Mis proved that. You know she won the Oscar. What you might not know is what happened right after. The decade where one of Hollywood's most talented actors watched industry doors close. Not because of a scandal, not because of a bad film, but because a meme decided she was too much. And what you definitely don't know is what it took to fight her way back. Because what's happening in 2026 isn't just a comeback. It's a complete rewrite of the story. November 12th, 1982. Brooklyn, New York. Anne Jacqueline Hathaway is born into a family that practically runs on performance. Her mother, Kathleen, was an actress. And from the moment Anne could speak, she was following her around the house, memorizing lines, throwing herself into every school play with the kind of intensity that only makes sense if you believe the stakes are actually eternal. At first, they were. The family moved to Millburn, New Jersey when Anne was 6. She was raised devout Catholic, serious about it. She has said that as a little girl, she wanted to become a nun. That level of devotion, that level of all-in commitment, it would define her no matter what it got attached to. At 15, something broke open. Her older brother Michael came out as gay, and the church that had been at the center of her childhood, the one that was supposed to be about unconditional love, said it couldn't accept him. So Anne and her family walked out. No drama, no announcement, they just left. What stayed was the intensity, the willingness to go all in on something that matters, regardless of cost. At 17, she was traveling to New Zealand to film a small religious drama called The Other Side of Heaven when her flight stopped in Los Angeles for a 26-hour layover. She had exactly 1 acting credit, a short-lived Fox TV series called Get Real. And there happened to be an audition that day for a little Disney film called The Princess Diaries. She went. She was so nervous she fell out of her chair. Director Gary Marshall had been considering Liv Tyler for the lead role, but Marshall's granddaughters were in the room. They told him Anne had the best princess hair. He cast her on the spot. The film grossed $165 million worldwide. The girl from Millburn who wanted to be a nun was now Hollywood's sweetheart. February 24th, 2013, the 85th Academy Awards, Dolby Theatre, Hollywood. Anne Hathaway had spent months preparing for the role of Fantine in Les Miserables. She lost 25 pounds in 4 weeks. She filmed her rendition of I Dreamed a Dream live on set, not pre-recorded, not lip-synced, live. Director Tom Hooper rolled the camera, and Anne had to collapse into the full grief of a woman dying in poverty, over and over, until it was right. The performance is devastating. Nobody argued that. She won Best Supporting Actress. She walked to the podium. She opened with 3 words. It came true. And something about the delivery, the perceived polish of it, the emotion that scanned as slightly rehearsed, struck a nerve. Reddit threads calling her insufferable went viral within the hour. The term Hathahate was coined on social media. Entire fan accounts dedicated to criticizing her mannerisms, her speeches, her interviews, her face, appeared overnight and gathered hundreds of thousands of followers. Here's the part that doesn't make the highlight reel. It cost her work. Directors called her team and said versions of the same thing over and over. I think she's perfect for this role, but I don't know how audiences will accept her. There's too much baggage. She has spoken publicly about losing roles she was genuinely right for, roles that went to other actors, because the internet decided she was annoying. She kept her head down. She kept showing up. And then, in 2014, Christopher Nolan called. Nolan was making Interstellar, a film about astronauts willing to sacrifice everything for the survival of humanity. He wanted Anne for Dr. Amelia Brand, a NASA scientist who gets on a spacecraft not knowing if she'll ever return to Earth. He didn't care about the memes. He cared about what he saw on screen. She said yes immediately. Interstellar earned $677 million worldwide. Critics praised her performance. Audiences took her seriously. And slowly, very, very slowly, the tide began to turn. Here's the thing about Anne Hathaway that the Hathahaters never could explain away. Her fans never left. Not once. Not during the worst of the backlash. Not during the years when her name was basically a punchline. A deeply loyal global fan base kept showing up, kept watching, kept defending, kept insisting that the internet had gotten it spectacularly wrong. Because they saw what the meme makers missed. They saw an actor who was never performing for approval. She performs because she has nothing left if she doesn't. That all-in quality, the one that made her fall out of a chair at her first major audition at 17, that made her lose 25 pounds for a 2-minute song, that made her film one of cinema's most devastating musical performances live on set. That quality doesn't evaporate because someone on Reddit decides you're too much. It just goes somewhere else for a while, and then it comes back. By the way, if the DWP2 fashion is making you want to overhaul your wardrobe, which, same, ASOS has incredible pieces right now inspired by the film's aesthetic. Sharp trench coats, elevated tailoring, classic workwear done beautifully. Link in the description. May 1st, 2026, The Devil Wears Prada. 2 opens in cinemas. $552 million at the global box office. The 5th highest grossing film of 2026. And the year isn't half over. She also has The Odyssey, Flowervale Street, and Verity all releasing before December. 5 major films in a single calendar year. And on May 21st, just days ago, in Elle magazine's Summer 2026 cover interview, she said this about filming the sequel. It felt like a do-over, not of the role, of herself. She talked about the internal work she'd done over the past decade, becoming more positive, healthier, safer, and wanting to bring that version of herself back to the screen where her career began. That's not a comeback story. That's a character arc that took 20 years to complete. So here's the debate I want you to settle in the comments. Was the Hathahate era the worst thing that ever happened to Anne Hathaway? Or was it, in a strange way, the thing that made her impossible to ignore? Think about it. Without the decade of being underestimated, misread, and locked out of rooms she'd earned the right to be in, does she do the internal work? Does she come back to DWP2 with that specific hard-won groundedness that the 2026 interviews are full of? Does the comeback hit as hard if there was nothing to come back from? Or is it simpler? The internet was wrong. It cost her years. She overcame it in spite of the hate, not because of it. And she deserves every dollar of that $552 million. Drop despite or because in the comments. I want to see where the room lands. If you made it this far, subscribe. We drop stories like this every week. Follow at Stardom on Instagram and TikTok. See you in the next one.